welcome to your weekly podcast from Freestyle Media in partnership with the Magic 5. So there's now less than a week to go until the European Masters Games begin, taking place in Tampere in Finland. And I'm pleased to be joined this week by one of our very own who will be competing out there, the self-confessed swim nerd, James Barwick. So welcome to the podcast, James.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, no, you're most welcome. So look, firstly, what I want to know is, will this be a new experience for you, or have you competed at European Games before?
This is actually going to be my third Masters Games, European Masters Games. I competed in 2015 in Nice and 2019 in Turin.
Amazing. Talk to us about what it's like. I mean, there'll have been two separate events. There'll have been a different feel to them both. But what does it feel like to be amongst? Because obviously you're amongst swimmers, but there's also so many other sports going on there as well. Do you kind of get involved in that other stuff?
Yeah. Well, both times that I've been previously, I tried to make a bit of excuse the pun, an event of it. Went out and obviously concentrated on the swimming side of it, but then afterwards and went around the cities that they were both hosted in to watch some of the other events. Nice, obviously, the south of France in September, did have quite an appeal. Got to see some of the open water swimming, which was one of the main ones, and some of the athletics. Turin, again, bit of the athletics, and we've sat in a very nice park in the middle of Turin on the Monday after we'd finished competing and got to watch the endurance cycle race. Day after that, we got to watch the triathlon. So sitting there having a well-earned, shall I say, refreshing beverage, watching everyone else compete, it was very nice.
Yeah, no, it sounds fantastic. Are you classing this meet as your main meet of this year? Is this the one that you've been building up to?
In terms of long course, obviously everyone focuses on national short course back end of the year, but in terms of long course competition, this is the one for me that I'm aiming for.
Yeah, brilliant. Have you been to Finland before? Will this be a new country for you?
Completely new. It's one of the reasons, one of the things that I do with swimming, or master swimming as it is now. When I first started, it was a chance to travel and see other places in the country, obviously go to local meets, obviously open county meets, but also now with the opportunity to do European Championships, European Games, World Games, etc. It's a chance to travel. So it's like, it wouldn't be a holiday destination that, right, where should we go next year? I know, Finland. But obviously the opportunity came up and it was, do a little bit of research, wanted to go and getting out there and having a good look around.
Yeah, that was going to be my question actually, is, why the European Games? I mean, you've just kind of answered it there, but what I will also ask, when you go out, you talk about the fact that you try and make it a holiday. So how long are you going to be out there for?
Well, starting at the beginning, it's European Games just because it's not just swimming. I know, I think most swimmers will admit swimming is one of the most boring things in the world to sit and watch at times. So it's good to get out and experience other sports, and obviously in the Masters environment. Bit of drama yesterday. I was originally meant to fly out on the Tuesday before racing starts on the Friday, but last minute cancellation yesterday. I'm now flying out a day later, Wednesday. So fly out the Wednesday, a few days before the competition. Friday, Saturday, Sunday competing, and then fly back home on the Thursday. So when we finish on the Sunday, following day, we're back to Helsinki for a few days in Helsinki doing the tourist thing then.
That's brilliant. And are you going it alone, or are you going with family, friends? Who's
with the family. So I think it's the way I can get away with going to these far-flung destinations is tell you what, I'll go and swim for 3 days, but as you know, we'll spend some time there afterwards, and just about get it agreed.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. So when you get out there, you've now got 2 days before the swimming starts. Should have been 3. Given the family are there with you, I mean, they're not going to want to rest and recover, are they? They're going to want to go and see things and all the rest of it. So are you going to get involved in the touristy bit for a few days, or are you going to be like, look, you guys get off, so if you enjoy it, I'm going to stay here, or I'm going to just take it easy? Like, what's the plan for those first few days?
So I think most of the Wednesday's a travel day. I mean, we're luckily flying out of Manchester and into Helsinki and then getting the train. So we're going to get there early evening. So it'll just be, dump the bags off, go and have a wander around the local surroundings, just leisurely have a wander around, see the sights. Obviously, you've got to get your accreditation, everything. The following day, again, whole day free. Want to go to the pool to get acclimatise, just see the lay of the land. have a little training session, bit of a stretch out, and then it's just going to be a nice leisurely day. Obviously, an early night on the Thursday night with Friday in mind, but again, I'm not. That's it, laser focus. I'm here, nothing until race day. It's you got to keep relaxed. You got to enjoy it, because if you get, as much as I'm there, my prime focus is to compete and race. I'm not going to let the event overtake enjoying the experience.
I think that's a great attitude. Interesting that you mentioned that you get the chance to go to the pool the day before and train. So is the pool is it open for participants to just get in and have a feel?
I don't know. I don't know officially, but at work, prep myself. In the worst case, I'm just going to turn up and have a public swim. And bear in mind, there's an indoor 50-meter competition pool, a 6-lane 25-meter pool for warm-up swim down, and there's an outdoor 8-lane 50-meter pool. I'm sure I'll find a lane to be able to plod up and down a little bit there. So yeah, it's more just sort of get up there, find where the front door is, know where the change rooms are, how to get to the pool side, so you don't look like a Bambi in the headlights when you pull up.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You mentioned that swimming's not exactly the most fun thing to sit and watch all day. I presume your family are going to watch you swim, right? They're not going to get off and be tourists while you're racing.
Yeah, well, luckily, I've seen something that's got some potential heat schedules. So luckily, I know, right, I should be racing about this time. So I'll get to the pool, do my bit. So if you want to turn up about this time, at least you'll only have to sit and watch me and maybe a couple of PTs either side. But yeah, they'll come watch those races, and I know, like, sort of historically, my daughter's been to Budapest and Turin with us, and it's like, well, I only want to see you swim. I don't want to see anyone else. And it's like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Do you know anybody else that's going out there to compete? I know that Nick Hope loves the European Masters games.
Yes. I do. Well, I know quite a few, because luckily, because of the way the games are set up, you don't register as your club. So obviously, I'm not there as East Leeds. You're there loosely under Great Britain. So myself, Chris Malpas from Trafford Metro, Nick Valentine from Newcastle, and Ken Flett from Sheffield have put together a 4x50 medley relay team. So where they're racing is GB Northern United, just to make it a bit more interesting. And I think I've seen Mike Hodgson and Chris Jones are there as part of their preparation for the Worlds in Japan. And they're sort of some of the names that I've seen that I recognise. So there's going to be a good British contingent there, which I know historically there has been as well. I think 2019, the British Army sent a complete team out, so they had people competing across the board, plenty of swimmers there. 2015, again, good turnout on the swimming side.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't realise Ken was going out there. I now train with him at Belper, and
Okay.
he was giving me some stick last night because last week's podcast with the City of Sheffield team.
Yeah.
I put the photo as the image for the episode, and he was on the end of the image, and because social media is a square image, I had to cut him out.
Oh,
and
dear.
he was he wasn't too pleased, and I'll have to let him know that even though he's involved in the European Masters, he's also not going to be on this thumbnail photo either. So I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll get some pictures of the four of us. But yeah, there's of the two previous incantations that I've been to, it's been a good turnout, and from the names that I've heard and seen, again, a good turnout from the Brits.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So come on then, what you're swimming? What events are you taking part in?
As part of the entries, you pay a flat fee. You can enter 5 individuals and obviously relays as well. So I'm doing 50 free, 100 free, 50 back, 100 back, 50 fly, and the medley relay with the lads.
Brilliant. So how many days is the swimming on for? Was it 3 days or more?
3 days, yeah, over 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So pretty much like a nationals.
Yeah, and have you managed to kind of spread your races out across the weekend quite evenly?
Yeah, I was I say tactical, but obviously the events that I primarily do anyway. But on the Friday, I've got 50 freestyle. The Saturday, I think it's the 100 back, then the 50 fly, and then on the Sunday, it is 50 back, 100 free.
Right. Yeah. No, that sounds good. I noticed when I was looking through the website, all the events that are available for people, there's no 200 meters freestyle. Now, I don't know if that's a mistake on the website or if you can share any intel there.
I don't. Well, I wouldn't want to enter it anyway, so I wasn't really that disappointed to not see it on the program. But no, I spotted that, and I think a few people have questioned it, but it's just one that's not there. I think it's down to the organising committee as to what events they offer. I know in Italy there was a mixed 4x50 freestyle and medley relay, but that's not an option now. It's just straight men's or women's. So I think it just comes down to the discretion of the organising committee.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I know if they can't fit everything in, then I get it. But I mean, 200 free is
A
such a core
staple.
event, isn't it? I mean, you say you're a sprinter, and I consider myself to do the sprint events as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd always partake in a 200 free for one going, because it does feel like, I mean, it's such a classic training drill as well, isn't it? Sets of 200 frees.
I know, well, that and I know, like, personally, early season, I tend to do the 200 free early in the year, just to sort of, right, where's my fitness? That's always a good gauge for me. So, had it been the southeastern long course meet, etc., or Welsh long course, that's the sort of place that I would do the 200 free. I would have dropped it come this stage. But like you say, it's a staple, especially in Britain with the success of the 200 boys and the 4x2 relay team. It's to not have that at an international event does seem a little bit ludicrous.
It does. It does seem odd, and I did wonder whether it was a mistake on the website. But
Mm.
then, I mean, I doubt it, because that would be such a big mistake to make, to just
Yeah,
miss it out
and yet I
when it
think
is an
there are.
event. So yeah, straight.
Yeah, and yet I think they've got the 4 and the 800 free in, so it seems weird not to have that one in the middle. But
Yeah. Oh well, we are where we are. At least that wasn't one that you wanted to enter anyway. How does it work in terms of the structure when you're there? So will there be heats and then finals, or is it just the classic heats throughout, and then you kind
yeah,
of place where you place?
exactly the same as, again, Masters Nationals, heat declared winner. So you just one swim. You don't have to work. We're getting old now. I think we all age grouped and did enough heats and finals back then. So it's whether it's a good thing or not, it's a one shot deal. Heat declared winner. So everyone's seeded, thrown in together, and then the uh, the awards doled out at the end when they worked out where everyone came in their age groups.
Mm. No, that's great. And talk to us about your goals then for this event. So this is the one that you say you've been sort of building up to long course. So
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
going there with any expectations in terms of times and placing?
Um, Time wise, I think it's every swimmer says it. They want a PB, but I've got my 100 freestyle I set back in Worlds in Budapest in 2017. That's just sort of stood out there for a while. So I'd like to shave a bit off that. Same with the 50 fly that was set in Budapest. They're two that I skirted around for so long. So I'd just like to wipe them off the board. Um, 53, 53. I think I actually set my master's best in Turin 4 years ago. So again, it's one that I just like to wipe out. So I'm ultimately I'm there to set the times. That's what I really want. I want a few masters bests, because I definitely think they're in there, especially the way the training's been going recently. The back crawls, dare I say it, they're a bit fun, but I still want to swim well on them. Again, it's the curse of being a swimmer. As much as they're not the prime focus, you still want to have that personal best, or that best time in there. So yeah, I'd be happy with 3 good 50s and a couple of solid hundreds. And if I come away with a medal, that would be nice. I've got 4 from the previous 2, 2 at each. So if I can pick up another couple or more, I'd be quite happy.
No, that sounds good. The first one that you mentioned was the 100 free and wanting to get a PB in that.
Yeah,
Again, is that a Masters PB, or are we talking a lifetime? Yeah.
Masters PB. I've got to be very realistic here. Yeah, Masters PB. I think my age group PB is a good 3 or so seconds faster than my Masters PB. I'm, could I ever get back to those speeds? I would love to. I just don't think it's realistic. I think I set it swimming against one of your previous guests, and actually my strength and conditioning coach, Nathan Oxford. I think we were racing at that
Oh,
meet
yes.
way back when. So yeah, I think I was 17, 18 at the time when I set that. So a long time ago now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I tell you what, I've never seen Nathan swim, and I know he doesn't swim anymore. But everything I hear is that he was one hell of a swimmer. Well, I mean, a backstroker especially, but
Yeah. Oh yeah.
kind of a shame he didn't stick it out.
I wouldn't have got near him on the back crawl, but we crossed over on the 100 free a few times, and that one time, which I have reminded him about a couple of times, I did beat him. So yeah, I'll take that. But yeah, phenomenal swimmer as an age group, and obviously world masters champ as well.
Yeah, yeah. We'll talk in a bit about your training,
Yeah.
including your strength training, because it sounds like it's been fantastic this year. But
Mm.
just to come back, the swims that you're going to be doing at the European Masters, you mentioned that you'd like to maybe get some PBs, or if you were to swim your sort of Masters PBs now, where do you think that would sort of place you? If you had a look at the kind of placings at the moment?
I've had a scan. I'd like to say, based on previous editions, there's a couple of medals there to be had. I don't want to jinx it, saying, yeah, I'm going to go and sweep everything, but I just want to be quietly confident, go there, hope to pick, hope I swim the times that I'd like to achieve, and if they result in medals, brilliant. But again, my focus there is to wipe those old times off the board and set some new ones.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, you come across as a very relaxed kind of guy. When you're at a competition, are you just very chilled, or are you quite serious in the zone? What's your kind of preparation on a race day when you're at the pool?
Um, I think a lot of the physical preparation, you've done it or you've not. So in my mind, I've probably gone, I've had one of the best little training cycles I've done for quite a while. Results building up to it have been very pleasing. The gym work that I've done, I mean, I think I'm doing quite well. Probably for Nathan to say yay or nay on that. But yeah, I think physically I've put the work in that I need to achieve what I want to achieve. Obviously, it's just getting the tape of the rest and the recovery prior to the meet right now. So I'm sort of right on the cusp of when I start resting down for it. In terms of on the day, it's why I wanted to fly out a few days before, just so I know that if there's anything that's going to go wrong, you can deal with it, get it out of the way. Obviously, got one less day on that, but again, still got plenty of time to get there. If the worst happens, at least I can get there. It's race day, get in, warm up, the set warm up that we do in training, which carry through into that. And then, it's a weird one because I always like to be there ages before my race, do my preparation, but then I want to give myself plenty of time. But then as the race is getting closer, I'm almost thinking, I wish I'd given myself more time. And it's like, I think that's the swimmer within coming out. Nothing's ever perfect, but once I'm there, warmed up, know how long I've got until my race, I'll just find a little quiet corner, sit down for a while, listen to a bit of music, and that's sort of when I hype myself up. And then probably a good 15, 20 minutes before the race, earphones out, and then relax because, I've done it at age group, I've done it at masters competitions where you just blown yourself over the top, you're just taking yourself too far. So get myself to a nice point, right, in my head, I'm ready. And then it's just relax, get into the cool area. I think it goes back to being an age group coach. And it was, my age group coach said, the more relaxed you look in the whipping area, the more worried everyone else is going to be because they're thinking, why are you so relaxed? So, yeah, I think it stems back to that. But yeah, I'll just headphones out and just go and chill out in the whipping area. I mean, if you get worried, if you get stressed, it's not going to help. So what's the point? So yeah, I don't want to say I'm blasé about it, but again, you can only do what you can do. So long as you execute the way you train to execute, you're going to be fine. If not, it's a learning experience.
No, that's really a really interesting take. I'm trying to be similar to you. I mean, I take my headphones with me to a swimming competition, but I tend to find once I'm sitting around people, I'm chatting to them. If I have a bit of time on my own, I will listen to some music. Yeah. But I definitely don't like listening to music 5-10 minutes before the race because it's too much of a distraction for me.
Yeah, I'm less relaxed after the race, especially if it's a bad race, because that's when in my head I start thinking about it. Did I do this? Did I? That's when the stress comes in. Because I'm more sort of trying to microanalyze if something went wrong, how it went wrong, what I can do to fix it. But before the race, I know it's not going to help. So it's keep as calm and relaxed as possible.
I swam at the Nottinghamshire Champs this weekend just gone, and the scoreboard wasn't working. So when you touch the pads at the end, you didn't find out your time until you jumped out and asked the timekeeper. But
Ah,
even then, they said, this is a backup
manual.
time. So
Yeah,
I mean, I think I did three events, and two of the times I was told were they stood, but one
yeah,
one of the times was ever so different when the results sort of came through on the phone. But I must admit that was a stressful experience because as a swimmer, as a racer, all that matters is the
yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah,
and you can talk about the fact that you want the stroke to feel good, the performance, all the rest of it. But ultimately, everything feels like it's factored on the time that you
yeah,
see. And when you can't
yeah.
see the time, it was a strange experience. Strange
No,
experience.
I've had a few of them, and even in that situation, it's very much a case of it's beyond my control. The scoreboard's out, the time will be what it will be, and I'll get the result when I get it. I can't because it's not there. I can't change anything about it. I'll just find out what it is when I'm meant to find out and deal with it then.
Absolutely. I don't want to really talk about this too much, but just out of interest, I was thinking when you mentioned a couple of the guys are going out there as preparation for the
Yeah.
world. So you going to the worlds at all, or is
No,
this your big
no.
one?
I would love to have, but I was fortunate enough to go to Florida earlier in the year, which burnt up most of my annual leave. So I didn't have enough annual leave to go there as well. I am looking to go to Japan 2027 because fortunately I age up then because there's a World Masters Games in Japan which had been postponed from COVID time. So it's been rearranged there. So I will get to Japan just a few years after everyone else.
Sounds great. That sounds really good. So you mentioned you swim for East Leeds. I'm sure, well, anybody that knows you will know that anyway. Talk to us about the club. Sort of, I mean, how many sessions do the club offer? How many sessions do you do? What's the dynamic of the club?
Yeah, we're very unique in the way that we're set up. Don't want to give away all our secrets. We have I'm club secretary for my sins, so I sort of know the insides and outs. But yeah, we actually train within the East Leeds, the Leeds City Council training, not training scheme, within the swim fit sessions they put on. Because obviously City of Leeds being such a huge club, they suck up just about any bit of quality time that you can get. So we sort of taken it upon ourselves to commandeer a few lanes in a lot of the public sessions. Fortunately, we're very blessed that there is a lot of sessions on across the pools across Leeds, and generally what you'll find is little pockets of swimmers train with one another. Right, this time suits 10 of us, we'll all get together. These guys will train then, those people will train then. So everyone sort of has created their own little training groups, and there's good crossover here, there, and everywhere. So, I mean, there's literally swimming available every day through the week. And personally, I'm doing well Monday through Friday evening, Saturday if there is the opportunity to do it, but I tend to try and use that as a bit of a rest day. Sunday in the pool, and I'm currently doing 4 gym sessions a week at the moment as well.
Wow, so 6 swims and 4 gym sessions.
But for it's a bit of a running thing, where because in Leeds you have the club swimmers, so the East League club swimmers, and you have a big masters contingent, which aren't actual, say, masters competitive swimmer. They're older swimmers that like to train, so they train as well. We're always referred to as the sprinters, but in spite of that, we've got guys and girls that go up to 1,500 meters, and I think it's more, instead of being called the sprinters, we should be called the club swimmers. I think is probably a fairer estimation. It's just because obviously we tend to do more short race pace based training, which for the people that do it have found it works for them. I mean, we've got some very very successful swimmers within the club, so we've just found a formula that works, and I've bought into it and succeeded as part of that.
Yeah. I mean, 6 swims and 4 gyms is a lot of work to get through when you've got a full time job, a family, and everything else. Has that always been your structure, or is this something that you've implemented recently?
No, when I first came when I came to master swimming, so I age group swimmer quit, as a lot of people do, came back to it. 2014, I think it was, I started back. I just started back with a small local club, 3 sessions a week, 3 evenings a week, an hour and 15 minutes a session. I've been going to the gym anyway outside of that, just as something to do. I think being a swimmer, being a sports person, you always have to have something going physically in the background. So I was just going to the gym, but with no goal in mind, and did those 3 sessions. And as I found more availability, I started with the local session. Then I became a dual member with East Leeds as well. So I was crisscrossing between the two where there was availability to shoot. And now I'm fully East Leeds because I moved, which meant I was closer to the East Leeds sort of full time. It's just naturally built up to that 6 a week.
It's really, really impressive. A, that you find the time, and B, that you stay motivated to do all that training, because 10 sessions a week is heavy. That is very heavy.
I think, like, actually, a colleague of mine here at work, he's very into psychology and reading people, and I think he said it best. It's like, you have to have that structure, you have to have that routine in mind to keep you sane. I wouldn't go so far as to say keep me sane, but luckily I leave the house in the morning, go to the gym, work, pool, home. So I'm only ever out of the house for one period of time. So it just, I'm not going out of my way to do the additional sessions. It's all sort of one route through the course of the day, which, it works for me. I'm happy doing it. Every now and then I sort of have to have a day where I go, nah, that's it. I'm binning training tonight because I'm going to go home and go to bed early. But no, it works for me. And obviously the job that I do can be quite stressful. Having that buffer of training between work, go training, and getting home, any frustrations, everything that's gone. Leave that in the water, get home, and enjoy home life.
It's a fantastic structure that, like you said it so well, that you only leave the house once a day, that's a big thing, I must admit, because sometimes I get home and I don't have training until 8 p.m. And it's fine in this beautiful sunshine that we currently sit in, but come the winter, it can be hard. It can be hard to go.
Yeah.
God, I've got to get back in there. So it's a credit to you that you've managed to kind of work around that. How do you find doing doubles? Because I find if I train twice in the same day, obviously one being the gym and then a swim, I'm fine on the day, but the next day I really do feel. I know you get used to it, but it sounds like you do a lot of doubles.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday is my Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I gym in the morning, swim in the afternoon, evening. Thursday, because I'm an old man now, my back's not quite what it used to be. I literally just do a squat session that Nathan prescribes. But fortunately, here at work, we've actually got a small gym with a squat rack in, so I pop down and do that in my lunch break. I couldn't swim twice a day. That would probably polish me off. But I think, luckily, the way, again, consultation with Nathan, the land work is structured so well that it complements my swim. So there's always a bit of fatigue. We're always a bit tired, but it's nothing untoward. It's nothing that makes me think, I can't perform as well as I should do in the pool. I think luckily found the good balance, the good medium up there, which allows me to get the most from the training without killing myself for the next session or needing that extra time to recover. So obviously on the Tuesdays, I don't gym. Bit more, a bit of extra time recovery between sessions. Same on Thursday, and then I think mentally in my mind, I tend to if I get through the week, I've got Saturday off and I can feel better on Saturday.
No, that's a great mentality. Sticking to the pool, you declared yourself as being one of the sprinters, or as people like to call you. So talk to me about a typical session that you would quite like to do.
We have a few staple sessions, I call them. Again, very race pace based, high intensity. I think one of our guys actually recently said he's more distance based. I don't know how you guys sprint the lactic acid, but a good Monday session would be 6 max 50s on about 8 minutes. Recovery swim in between, all from a dive. So that's really going for it. By the time you're hitting number 4, number 5, you're really going to be. I think a couple of weeks ago I was very close to hugging a bin on poolside. So it was that can really push you. But then sort of later in the week, I tried to get some real high intensity there. Later in the week, 6 on 6, as we like to call it, 6 reps of a minimum of 75 meters, again on 6 minutes, recovery in between. But there you're going to be pushing the distance up a bit further. So obviously with 50s and 100s in mind, I'll probably do 75s or 125s, sort of those slightly off odd distances, which just throws your system out a bit. But again, if you're training for a 50, maxing out that 50 and then having to turn on that, but that's also very good for the back end of your 100. And again, a little bit longer with the 125s, just to do that. So that's always good. Standing 25s are always good as well, just for pure speed. So they're probably three of the key ones. And then, even though we're sprinters, we still get some good volume in. So good 20, 24 100s off 90, just, good technique, breathing, aerobic, just getting that base in there. Use it as a recovery session where needs be.
No, it sounds really good. And just to clarify, when you said, for example, doing a 50 off 6 minutes, but recovery is part of that. So would you swim it hard as you can, and then you think, right, we've still got 5.5 minutes. I'm just going to take a breather for 30 seconds, and I'm just going to do a nice 50 now. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, so 1 rep every 6 minutes. So, if you start on the zero, so to speak, first one on the zeros, one at 6 past, one at 12 past, 18, 24, half past. And, once you finish your rep, whatever you want to do to recover in between max efforts, do what you take. So, like for me, big guy, big muscle mass, a lot of lactate produced, I need to make sure as quickly as possible I'm, just plodding up and down there, trying to work it out, ready for the next rep.
Mate, no, it makes perfect sense. So let's talk in the gym then, because I know you started working with Nathan in more recent times. So, I mean, we've had Nathan on twice now, and he's kind of given us the core principles. Now, you don't have to give your workout away, because I'm sure Nathan wouldn't appreciate that. But
no.
But talk about some of the fundamentals that you want to do on the gym floor.
A lot of the basics that everyone will know: bench press, squats, deadlifts. That's your core strength building capacity. Obviously, big compound lifts, working across good range of joints. Like training in the pool, it's going to be periodized. So I'll do more strength work to start with in the early season, and then bringing it down to power. But obviously, do that. Big focus on leg drive, leg power, because obviously you've got to get yourself off the block, off the walls. Work. You don't really need to work your arms quite as much as you do, because obviously you put so much effort in the pool. But that working a bit more power. So work the big lifts there. Then you've got things like your Olympic lifts, your clean and press, your jerks, things based around that. So big strength component, big power component, but then a lot of the bits that probably a lot of people forget, the smaller exercises, the core stability, the small muscles, the things that could cause you problem or prevent you applying that power as well as you could do. So very movement specific or activity specific movements in the gym under load.
And how long have you been working with Nathan for?
Actually started with, I think Nathan started his business or his consultancy during lockdown, obviously trying to offer things for people at home. That's when I started. So in 2020, sort of way back then, fortunately a friend of mine owns a PT studio. He had loads of equipment that couldn't be used. So he was like, do you want to take this for while we're locked down? Yes. And signed up with Nathan. Nathan started prescribing it, and we've been working together ever since.
That's brilliant. And how, I mean, that's a great case study then, because we're talking 3 years worth of time here. How much do you feel like you've developed in 3 years?
Physically, I'm stronger than I've ever been. I mean, I did gym work as an age group. I did gym work at university, sort of in between, literally just went to the gym. But with the focus and the knowledge of Nathan, and obviously his understanding of swimming, I'm swim specific strong, but physically, like the one everyone wants to do, how much do you bench press? That's as much as I've ever lifted in my life. Squatting, I'm as heavy as I've ever been, but more consistent. Deadlifts, and then again, all the power lifts. So you clean and press, your snatches, things like that. With his input, doing more than I've ever done. I mean, so, I did a lot of gym as a 18, 19, 20-year-old, but sat here as a 40-plus-year-old and doing more than then. I'm more than happy with what I've achieved out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, you've just said everybody wants to know what the bench press is. You've got to tell us now. What is it?
I did admittedly, I did do one lift heavier at university, but that's debatable. But yeah, I did a 135 kilos. When was that? That was just before I went to Scotland. So a couple of months back, 135 kgs. But I've done a couple of 130 kilo lifts just before that as well.
So are you talking for one rep or are you talking for a number of reps?
That was just one rep on that particular occasion, yeah.
Yeah, that is very impressive. I mean, actually, Nathan and I were talking. I'm not sure if this was on the podcast actually, or if it was after we recorded and we were having a chat afterwards. But we were talking about the kind of the big male sprinters that exist on the elite stage and what we reckon they can bench. I think I'd heard that Flo Manadou benches about 160 or something crazy.
I saw an Instagram post of his recently, and I think he did 145, maybe 140, 145, and I'm sure he did that for 3 reps. But yeah, that guy's an absolute beast. I saw he's just set the fastest time in the world on the 50 at the French champs in their heats. So yeah, he is a big boy.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, we've never met in person. We've spoke a lot on social media, and mostly me asking you for advice on various things. But you've said you're a big guy, you tall guy. How tall are you?
6'4", 6'5". I think I say we met. I think we were side by side in the 100 breaststroke at Nationals last year. I think I recall. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm 6'4", 6'5".
Right. Wow. So you are Flo Manadou kind of territory.
Height-wise, that's about as close as it's going to get.
No, so you're not going to be setting a 21.5 at the European Games?
If I lose about 4 stone, maybe, but...
No, that's brilliant. So, I mean, we talked about your swim work, we talked about your gym work. So overall, are you really happy with the preparation that you've done going into a meet like this?
Yeah. In terms of training, you always have that little niggle at the back of your mind. Could I have done a bit more? Could I have done a few sessions? Could I have done a bit faster on a few reps? But, looking at the big picture, more than happy in training. The progress, when I target a meet like this, I generally start off at Crawley at the Southeast regions at back end of January. That's sort of my starting point. I set some times, and then what I want to see every meet following, whether I'm tapered, rested, or whatnot, I just want to see a drop all the way down. So I've seen that drop. I'm happy with that. My final meet before Finland could have gone a lot better. Obviously, national long course, a few little issues there, but as a whole, I'd like to say I'm in a good place.
Yeah. Well, listen, I laugh because I know all about these issues. You're going to have to share it with us because it's a classic swimmer's story. I think everybody will appreciate it.
Yeah. Friday morning, shaving down as manly as it sounds, shaving my legs first thing in the morning, bent down to the side, and something just popped in my back, and it was one of those sort of 5-minute periods thinking, oh my God, is that it? Am I going to swim this weekend? But I think the swimmer mentality took over. It's like, no, I'm going to get to the pool, I'm going to warm up, and I'm just going to see what happens. I had the 100 back. Well, I was entered in the 100 back on the Friday afternoon. I thought, I'm not going to make it there. So pulled out. I don't think I've ever warmed up for a race as much as I did. I got there. I think I did about 4 warm-ups in the afternoon session because I had a team event, the 4x50 freestyle relay in the evening. So I was like, right, I'll get there and just make sure I'm in a position to race. Warmed up, went and hung from a ledge that I found, and luckily everything sort of cracked and popped, and the worst of the pain went. So I was like, right, I can make it down to 50. And then it came to the third session of the evening, got in the warm up. Right, can I dive? That's the next one. Did a couple of swing start pretend relay takeovers. It's like it hurts a bit, but you know what? I can do this for 50 because one of our guys wanted to set a time on the lead off. So it's like, as much as I want to do it because we could win a medal, I want to make sure he's got the opportunity to set the time that he wants to do. So it was like, right, yeah. Got in the race. I was third leg. We were doing pretty well. I know you had Sonny Trigg on not long back. His team were a couple of over us, and Clive from Portsmouth, another couple I know, they were flying off beside us. Guy comes in, I take over, really good takeover, mid-air, cramp in the leg. But again, knowing I had to finish in case our lead-off guy had set the time he wanted, obviously with the rules, they can set the time, but the team has to finish and not get disqualified. So it's like, right, I've got to get to the other end of the pool. Luckily, we had a decent enough lead over the other two guys in our age group. Got to the other end of the pool with a very fast anchor leg for us on the back end. So it was like, if I can at least get to the wall a bit ahead or level, I know he can finish the job off. So dived in, leg went, and 50-meter pool going a 26 point. I was quite happy. And then that sort of,
absolutely.
Well, I think everyone's had cramp at one point in their life or not, but this was a proper full calf, was rock solid. Spent the rest of the evening trying to shake that off. Had the 50 back the next day. Went off on the start. Got about 25 meters in. Went again, and it was just like, oh God, right. Just had to cruise into the end, and it's one of those things. Could I have done anything to prevent it? I didn't even know it was coming. So I'd rather it happened at nationals, albeit, than when I get out to Finland. So you take the rough with the smooth. I mean, luckily in the relay, walked away with a medal. Could have done better the rest of the weekend, but I think, cramp hindered it. Getting picked to a medal on the 50 fly by one of my teammates by 100th of a second was a bit galling, but that's racing. You've got to hit the wall before the other person. If not, you don't get the reward. So
yeah, it is what it is. We said you'd like to be better prepared for these things, although you don't know it's coming. I guess next time you're gonna shave your legs sitting down, right?
Yes, very very much so. Very very slowly, and no bending to either side. It's all going to be very very straight.
Yeah, I think. I mean, the mad thing is it could well have been linked. Especially anything that shoots down the back of your leg. It probably was linked.
Who knows? Can think about it all alike. It's happened. It's done. It's in the past. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the final thing I want to ask you about is we've sort of had this conversation a few times on the podcast about tapering. Some people don't feel like they need one for various reasons. Some people feel great when they've got a heavy workload. Yep. I personally am somebody, I just don't think I do enough meters per week to need a taper. But six sessions in the pool, 4 sessions in the gym, you're lifting more than you've ever lifted. You're a big guy, you probably do need a taper.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very much so. I taper differently for a long course meet to a short course meet. If it's a long course meet, I tend to go through a 2-week process. If it's short course, I go through a 3-week. I do the 2-week on the long course because it's long course, whether it's mental or whether it is physiological. I just find I lose a little bit more or a little bit too much fitness to be fast long course if I do that extra week. Whereas the short course, I can get away with the full 3 because you want to be really fast, really twitchy. You've got the walls to make up for that X many meters that you've got to swim extra because you're not doing the turn. But yeah, for Tampere, I'm looking to do roughly 2 weeks. I mean, I might tweak that depending on how I'm feeling, but 2 weeks. I've already started working down in the gym with Nathan. So the strength component's gone. It's very much fast, power-based movements, but a lot less reps. And in the pool as well, slightly less reps, but still maintaining the intensity. That's the way I tend to work. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can taper. So obviously, if you're doing a lot of meters, a lot of intensity, you can bring both down. If you're doing a lot of meters but not so much intensity, you can bring the volume down, but maybe up the intensity. It works differently for everyone. It's like you were saying, you had your "How far should you train" podcast. It's very individual to everyone. But for me personally, because I'm a larger guy in terms of muscle mass, it takes a lot longer to recover, relax, get that to a really peak state. Plus, again, I do a very high intensity based training, so I need to maintain that intensity to get the speed out at the end. But I just do less reps, more rest in between. So that's how I taper, by doing less reps ultimately. So I'll do the same set week in, week out. But you might start off doing 10 reps at the start of the taper period, but you end up doing 2 by the week before.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I remember having a chat with Dean Milwain actually, and he said that when he was swimming full time before the Olympics, he always needs a taper, and
Yeah.
he said that he can't remember the exact times, but this was for a 400 free. He something like 2.5 weeks before Olympics, compared to Olympics, he went 20 seconds faster because of
Oh
a
yeah.
taper.
Yep. Absolutely. I listened to that one and I was sat there thinking, that is a very, very familiar story. Like for me personally, I've done very similar sort of. I've done a couple of prep meets prior to nationals. I think, oh God, I think 2018. I think it was. I just before national short course, I did a meet in Hull. I know, not the most glamorous of locations, but I think I did 100 fly, and I'm pretty sure I went about a 113. Final length just absolutely fell apart, and that was playing on my mind a bit. But then 2, 3 weeks later, Ponds Forge, fully rested, fully fine, everything. I dropped 10 seconds off of that, and that's on 100. But you know, if it's not my focus meet, if it's not one that I'm fully rested and tapered for, the first few times I did it, I was like, what on earth's going on? Why am I swimming this badly? But then, you sit back, you think about it. You're not going to swim that fast. I accept I'm not going to swim it fast as at every meet that I'd like to, but it's all part of the process. It's all part of getting that fast swim at the end of the cycle, which is ultimately what you want.
Yeah, no, that's really fascinating. 10 seconds on 100, that is huge.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah,
it sounds like you've got it all worked out. Just the most important thing. You know what you need. You've got your 2 weeks taper ready for the Europeans, which
yeah.
is fantastic. Listen, I wish you all the best. I hope you have a safe flight out there. I hope you race well. I hope the shaving down goes a little bit better this time.
So do I. Yeah.
Listen, have a fantastic time with your family, with your teammates. I look forward to kind of. Oh, actually, can we watch it? Is that would it be live streamed at all? Can we tune
I
in?
I haven't seen anything, but if I find it, I'll send it over for you.
Brilliant. No, thank you very much, and chat to you again very soon.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.